We continue learning Kitzur Yomi as we begin the 11th Siman in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the halachos of Mezuzah. Says the Kitzur mitzvah saseh, it's a positive commandment like Mezuzah b'chol Pesach, to put a mezuzah at every entrance of one's house. V'afilu yesh kama chadarim, and even if one has many rooms in the house, the chol cheder kama psachim, and every room has many doorways. Assume the knisa v'yitzia that are made for going in and coming out. He might only go through one of the doors. Even if there's not many people living in the house, you might only need one entrance. Every doorway requires a mezuzah. However, if there's a doorway that is not used to go in and out, it's only used to bring something in, it's a certain loading area that you don't go in and out, it's used for an occasional loading dock, and there's another way to go in and out. Is going to be Pitura. And on the bottom of here, they explain that if you have a storage room with two entrances, one is that you go in and out, and the other one is, as we'll say, like the loading dock, then that loading area would not need a mezuzah. Continues the Kitzur Sif Beis. Gam Shari Chatzeros, gates of courtyards, Mevuois of the streets, Ayares, cities, Medinas, provinces, Chayavim Mezuzah. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Ubisharecha, in the plural, Sharecha, gates indicates all gates require a mezuzah, not only for one's house. And Sif Gimel continues, the right side entering into the room, in Kava Bismawawal. If you put the mezuzah on the left side, psula, you have to remove the mezuzah. And if you put the mezuzah on the wrong side, it is possible. And therefore, it will require a new bracha when putting it on the right side. It doesn't make a difference if you're right-handed or you're left-handed, and mezuzah goes on your right side going into the room. But says the Kitzur, Shnei Batim, two houses literally, but more particularly, we're talking about two rooms within one house. That each of these rooms has an entrance that goes into Rosh Hashanah, or into a courtyard. And in the mechitza between them, there's also an entrance. You're not sure, and this is going to be our classical case, as you have a room with two doors. You have your dining room, maybe, that one door goes into the kitchen and one door goes into the hallway. So every doorway, they could go both ways. So which is the right side? So the Kitzur said, Azlina Bazei, Balsar Hekers here. We go after the hinges, the indication. Pirish, what does that mean? But it's here in the Delos, the place where the hinges of the door are made. Shadelos niftach litoichai. The door opens into the room. Zeu ikar abayis, that's the primary room. The right side going into that room. We assume a door is made to open into that room. But we will point out, even before we continue, nowadays, this is not necessarily going to be the way to figure it out. Number one, what if you don't have a door? Meaning you have a doorway without a door, so this won't help us. And number two, nowadays, many times, doors are configured in certain fashions, either due to style or due to design, but not necessarily does the door opening into the room indicate that room is the ikar room. If it does, it does. But the nikuda let's take out is that we're looking for which is the ikar room, because you enter into the ikar room. Continues the Kitzur, and this is really what we just spoke out. It's only when both rooms are equal. If one room is clearly the main, then we don't care about the door. Ella, rather, lo'ilam. The right side entering into that room. If the door goes the other way, if it's clear one room is the ikar, then you enter into that room. But like the example I gave before, it's not so simple when you have two ikar rooms. You have a kitchen and a dining room. Maybe they're both the ikar, so it would not be so simple to figure out which way. And then the way that we'll have to figure it out is we're going to have to figure out where the flow of traffic is, because that's a way to be kaiveya which is the ikar room. Are you entering from your kitchen into your dining room? Or are you entering from your dining room into the kitchen? And it is true, that's not always so simple, but that's the basic way of figuring it out. Continues the Kitzur and Sif, hey, Mekaima. What is the place? The place the mezuzah metchil shel sha'alyon, in the beginning of the top third of the doorway shel koiv hashar, the height of the entrance. Kvol lamala mizek sheir. If it's above the bottom of the top third, it's kosher. But it has to be at least one tefach away from the top of the doorway. But if it's under the top third, then it's possible and you have to re-put it back up with a brach. And if you put it on the top tefach all the way high, also however, over here, avaloi bracha, such a scenario you would not make a bracha, and the reason being, in such a scenario, it is you didn't do the right thing, but it wouldn't be possible if you don't make a new bracha. Now let's say you have a wide doorway. It should be the tefach closest to the chutz, to the outside. And what's the reason? On the bottom they point out, because you want to be able to hit the mezuzah as soon as you get to this doorway, number one. Number two is the mezuzah is the protection. So you want the mezuzah all the way towards the outside so that all the inside is being protected. However, this is not ma'akiv, and therefore if the mezuzah is not in the outermost tefach, it's more towards the inside of the doorway, the width of the doorway, it would still be kosher. How do you put up the mezuzah? You roll it from end to the beginning. Again, this generally we would not do. The Seifrim roll it for us. You put it in a tube, and you put it up with nails. They point to the bottom. Be careful, don't put the nails through the cloth. And you put it on a diagonal. Famously, everyone knows, Note 21 points out, it's machlekes, should it be straight? It's machlekes, should it be horizontal or vertical? Therefore, in order to make a pshara, we make it slanted to be yetze all sheetas. Now, which way is the slant? The top, which is where Shema is, should be towards the inside of the house or the room. Shita achraina, and the last line is l'tzad achot. So, I mean, the way I'm holding it is hard to see, but next time you go through a doorway, you'll realize it's angled towards inside. Let's say the doorway is not wide enough to make it on diagonal. You're allowed to put it straight. It's better to go straight from putting it on the front of the door, because that is not the lechatchila. If you did not put it on the doorpost, but it's hanging from the door, psula v'chein tzach lizer lemasa lemali gam lamati. You want to put a nail on top of the bottom, it should not be hanging. And again, we're talking about nails, but the poskim do point out that if you put it with something strong, the point is it has to be strong. So a strong tape or the like would be fine as well. Says the Kitzur, Sif Zayin Kodim Shekava, before you put up the mezuzah, Yivarich, you should make a bracha, Shek Shem Sasif suddenly Kbaya mezuzah. Then Kbaya Kama mezuzahs, you're putting up many. You put in one bracha for all of them. And of course, the bottom points out, you should try not to talk in between putting up the different mezuzahs. If the mezuzah falls by itself, you put it back up. So you have to make a new bracha. Meaning, if you walk by a mezuzah one day and you realize it's on the floor, it fell down, so you didn't take it down. When you put it back up, you got to make a bracha. However, if you took down the mezuzah in order to check it, then it's not clear. Levarich, the Kitzur leaves it as a suffix. Lahalach lamaisa will point out from Rav Elyashiv that if the mezuzah is not up for a night, not that it's a few hours, if there's an overnight period that the mezuzah is down, then lamaisa someone should make a new bracha. We continue with Sivchas B'Ksas Sharman, some gateways. These Pesach Katan Eitzel Ashar Gadol. There's a smaller entrance that goes into a larger entrance. V'derech HaPesach Katan Yotze V'Nichnas. And the smaller entrance they go in and out. V'Ashar Gadol Einam Declaral Perakim. They only go to the larger one at times, but since there are two different entrances, and there is a tefach between them, so which would show us that if there was not a tefach in between them, then it would be called one doorway. But if there is a tefach between this larger and the smaller doorway, you need two different mezuzahs. But Makim Yesh Lachash Siftah says the kids in a place you have to be concerned, Shem Yignevu, I saw that maybe the mezuzah might be stolen. You're able to carve out into the doorpost. That's what you should do. However, do not dig deeper than a tefach into the door base. That would be called inside the door base. That is possible. Lamaisa, many stone doorways, certainly in Eretz Yisrael, you'll see that the mezuzah is placed inside of the doorway, and of course that is kosher. Can't be too deep in. You have to be careful. You have to make it clear where it is. Either you make a marking, says the Pischei Tshuva, or very often they put like a clear thing to show the mezuzah is inside there. Let's say you cannot do that. You can put it on the inside of the doorway behind, so you can't see it from the outside when the door is closed. Dafka mezuzah atzma has to be on the doorpost itself. Not on the wall. Should not be more than a tefach away from the entranceway. Because then it would be possible. We continue with Sif Yod. Says the Kitzur ina bayis chayim mezuzah elim kein yesh by arba amois al arba amois. Only if a room is 4 amois by 4 amois. It says in note 27 between 3.7 and 5.3 square meters, 40 and 57 square feet, which again, that's about 6 feet by 6 feet. The main by arba amos. Let's say it's not 4 by 4, 6 feet by 6 feet, 7 feet by 7 feet, but the square footage is it's longer than it is wider. A rectangular room, let's say 2 by 8, imish egula, or a circular room that is a square foot of 16 amos. It is a machlekes, and as we'll see at the end of the next sif, what exactly you should do. We conclude with Sif Yud Aleph. A doorway, an entranceway is not chayv mezuzah on kin yesh l'shtei mezuzahs till it has 2 doorposts. The doorpost has to be at least 10 tefachim tall. Umashkav al gamin and lintel on top of it. Even doorposts are not made out of wood or stone, the same material as the rest of the building. The doors themselves form into the mezuzahs to an opening in the walls. And there's roof on top of them, because it forms into a doorway. Let's say there's only one doorpost. On one side of the wall continues, a very common doorpost in our houses. As you see in the picture, one wall just continues. The other wall, there is a doorpost. So in such a scenario, what is the din? This is one of the most common shaylas in Mezuzah. Small. So you got to figure it out. Where is that one doorpost? If it is on the left side, then you're potter. Then when we start min, then it's a suffix, and you should put it up without a bracha. Or sheikba, you should put it up. And it's always the case whenever you have a suffix and a bracha, you put up a mezuzah on a different doorpost that is chayiv. You make one bracha and you put up this one. You have to gam mezuzah. Like in the previous case where your room wasn't 4 by 4, it's 2 by 8. It's also a suffix. So anytime you have a case of a suffix, you put it up without a bracha. I'll just point out that in this case, that we said that one is the wall continuing, the other is a mezuzah. So the Kitzur paskind, if this one doorpost is on the left, it's potter. If it's on the right, it's chayiv. Part of the complication is going to be, what if you don't know if it's right or left? As we spoke about in the beginning of this year, to figure out which side is the entrance is complicated. But if it's clearly the left, as let's say there's only one way to get into the room, like in this picture over here, this is clearly on the right entering into the room, because it's an end room, so you're clearly entering into the right, then it would be chayiv, but you would not make a bracha. Pick it up from here, b'siyata dishmaya.